Oh, strikes and saving money. What a combination. If you want to travel by train through the United Kingdom, you should plan more time than usual. The train drivers from the ASLEF union want to go on strike for the next 6 months. The RMT union also announced 3-day rail strikes in July, as The Guardian reported. And according to this, the RMT members would stop working on July 20th, 22nd and 29th and could thus paralyze the national rail network. And in London, many subways could be at a standstill at the end of July. The Rail, Maritime and Transport Union has announced, according to The Independent, that subway staff will walk out from work from Sunday the 23rd to Friday the 28th of July. According to the newspaper, the strike is a reaction to the planned cuts of around 600 jobs in the London Underground. And in Scotland, a strike at Glasgow Airport could hit those travellers most in need. Employees of the OCS group usually support travellers who have restricted mobility at the airport. And that's another thing, British rail companies are moving forward with plans to close hundreds of ticket offices across England over the next 3 years. After that, some travel centres in major stations will be retained, but in most stations, staff will only be present temporarily in the waiting rooms and on the platforms to sell tickets or to provide travel advice and assist people with reduced mobility. The industry association Rail Delivery Group, the RDG, recently confirmed these plans, which are being pushed by the government to save costs. The RDG explained that the employees of the ticket counters on the platforms and in the waiting halls should take on new and committed tasks, as they say. However, many employees fear losing their jobs since the guarantees given in collective bargaining for operational redundancies expire at the end of next year. Implementation of the plans means that stations such as London Euston, Birmingham New Street or Manchester Piccadilly will lose travel centres and reduce staff working hours. In Northern England, around 131 of the 149 ticket offices still in existence would be closed. The RMT union strongly condemned the plans. Its Secretary General Mick Lynch said, "The decision to close around 1,000 ticket offices and lay off hundreds of staff is a brutal attack on railway workers, their families and all passengers. In the future, travellers will be forced to rely on apps and mobile teams to assist them instead of having trained staff in the station. This is a disaster for elderly but also disabled and vulnerable passengers attempting to use the rail network." Currently, about 3 out of 5 stations have a ticket office, although some are staffed only part-time. Railway companies claim that today only 12% of tickets are bought at the counter compared to 82% in 1995. The major passenger train operators are mandated directly by the government and have been urged to make savings to bridge the current funding shortfall, as fare revenues have fallen by more than 20% since the coronavirus pandemic. Rail operators remain at odds with unions over the government's pressure on rail companies to press ahead with the controversial reform, with negotiations stalled and more strikes looming, as I said in the beginning of the video. The RMT and TSSA unions have said they will vigorously oppose the proposals. And I can understand this. And it has a completely different effect that nobody is talking about mostly on that topic. And that is climate protection. We have the same here with the Greens, where they always want to go the wrong way. First, they want to get rid of the car, and then they want to do something for the rest. If you want people to switch from the car to public transport, you have to make public transport more attractive first. When public transport is, to use a STFC quote from my other channel here, is just stellar, then you make people switch from their car to public transport. But if public transport is absolute crap, people will use their own car. I see it in my own region here. When we had a different majority here, I still could get some stuff done, and in my borough get some more buses to get my borough closer to the general level of quality that we have in our city. Only two parts of the city don't have this quality level, and that's my borough and a neighbor borough, because they are quite small. And with the current red and green majority here in our city council, it's really hard to do that. And they denied I'm just saying this, 80,000 euros a year to get a big improvement, especially for the elderly people here. And they are spending millions on total nonsense. But that is the same. Nobody here in my borough will leave their car standing here and go by public transport, because public transport here in my borough is absolutely sub-level. But that's a mistake, especially the Greens are making a lot here in Germany. They don't want to improve public transport. They just want to ideologically go for their bike stuff and anti-car stuff. But they don't think about to make public transport more attractive to people. And that's what you need to do. And that's the same with all those closures. It doesn't make railway travel more attractive if you close all those ticket offices. Yes, many people buy their tickets online. But if there's any problem, you go to a ticket office in the station. A lot of people want to get advice from a person. They go there. And this is a luxury we at least have here at our station, and that I'm quite glad of, because when there are some issues, I can go there. If I have questions when people are coming to visit from the UK, for example, again, I can go there and ask. But if you make this less appealing to people to use the railway, you will never get them away from using their car. But enough preaching for today. I'll see you in my next video. I'll be back.